Afmado, Mido, Bibi, Jana Abdallah, all the way to Kismayu.
The operation was hard, but it was successful. We pacified Tabda, Beleskokani, Hayo, Afmado, all the way to Kismayu.
In the southern subsector, towns like Kolbio, Raskamboni, Burgavo, Kude, Bulahaji, all the way to Kismayu.
Our plan was to kuingia southern region, ambazo zilikuwa dominated na Al-Shabaab, to an extent that they were kidnapping and cross border raids. So that was our main aim.
The defense and control of town for Al-Shabaab and the presence of
about Kismayu was the fact that it choked the Al-Shabaab financial muscle.
They were collecting a lot of zakat or tax, so they were not ready to lose this town.
Aware of KDF advancement through central and southern subsectors, Al-Shabaab had fortified the town and were ready to put maximum resistance against KDF troops on land. In response to this, KDF planned for a covert amphibious landing operation in Kismayu dubbed Operation Sledgehammer. The operation took place in North Beach on Friday 28 September 2012. After a series of planning and drills with extreme regard to secrecy in order to preserve operation security under the cover of darkness, Kenya Navy carried out an important role of delivering troops, supplies, and ammunition into Kismayu. Operation Sledgehammer was considered a turning point in the KDF's war against Al-Shabaab and indeed the entire peace effort spectrum in Somalia, as it got the enemy by surprise.
Ili tugharimu muda karibu mwezi mmoja ndio tuweze kufika Kismayu. Kabla hatujafika Kismayu kulikuwa na operation ilikuwa imeandaliwa ambaye ilikuwa inaitwa Sledgehammer, ambaye hao ni watu wetu walikuwa wanakuja katika beach landing. So kawaida unajua ukitaka kuua nyoka unapiga kichwa. So wakati tulikuwa tayari sasa tuko kukaribia Kismayu, basi watu wetu waliweza kutokea na upande wa beach na wakafanya a very successful beach landing na wakaingia na tukakamata Kismayu bila resistance kubwa.
This became the beginning of the end of the militia who had occupied major towns like Mogadishu, Marka, Kismayu, and other small towns.
We never had any challenges in terms of Al-Shabaab. Al-Shabaab have actually deserted Kismayu, Port City. They have actually deserted the area. So therefore, we never had any challenges. We actually entered the town without any resistance at all.
Al-Shabaab was weakened and sunk under the weight of a series of setbacks, most notable being the collapse of local support, loss of more than a sixth of Somalia's territory to KDF in the south, and the steady stream of defections. The success of Operation Sledgehammer was attributed to the level of training on the part of the KDF soldiers and leadership of the KDF commanders at all levels. Following the United Nations Security Council Resolution 2036 of 2012, the Kenya Defence Forces was integrated into African Union Mission in Somalia, AMISOM, so as to sustain the gains made by the troops in Somalia.
The regional bodies and regional forces came also in support of us, and this gave rise to AMISOM.
I'm requesting the Parliament to approve the request by the Commission of the African Union to rehat the Kenya Defence Forces currently operating in Somalia to AMISOM.
AMISOM was a multinational force under the African Union with the approval of the United Nations Security Council with a mandate to support transitional governmental structures, implement a national security plan, train the Somali security forces, and to assist in creating a secure environment for the delivery of humanitarian aid. During the operation, KDF presence in Somalia was met with a lot of resistance from the Al-Shabaab. They conducted numerous attacks on our troops, security installations, and civilians both in Kenya and Somalia.
It was home of terrorists and war. There were no services provided to the residents. The town was merely a place where the basic necessities of life could not be found easily because of the presence of the Al-Shabaab. It was a place where operations to pose threat to the neighboring countries of East Africa were conducted. When Al-Shabaab controlled this town, there were no development in aspects such as healthcare, education, and communication. This place was dull and gloomy.
KDF's presence in Somalia came at a price. This was the sacrifice of our troops who went to great strides to maintain peace and the stability of our country.
Let us all, therefore, remember those who have fallen in the line of duty and honor the ultimate sacrifice.
Indeed, it has come at a cost. Our colleagues have paid the ultimate price.
This is an eventuality of war. It can happen to me, it can happen to anybody.
I commiserate with their families and pray that God may give them and their families the mental fortitude to be able to continue with life.
The ability the fallen soldier and recognize them is what is key also.
And I want to reassure even the families of the ones that lost their loved ones that we're still with them. KDF they're still members of KDF, and whichever support that they require, we'll always endeavor to support them.
May their souls rest in eternal peace, knowing their dreams came to reality. The KDF conducted both kinetic and non-kinetic operations to degrade Al-Shabaab and at the same time win the hearts and minds of the local population. The KDF engaged the public through civil-military cooperation, and some of the interventions included delivery of medical aid.
Every Monday they are coming here and treating people well. They treat civilians, and also if they see a critical case, they just refer them to level 2 hospitals, Doble.
Opening up of main supply routes, renovations of airstrips.
Currently, the Kenya Defence Forces engineering team is working on the renovation of the airstrip. This contributes to the security of the airstrip.
Key leadership engagements, training and mentoring of medical personnel.
Whatsoever I gain here or I learn here, I want to assist my fellow teammates, my fellow workmates to give training in a practical field, in a theory form, so that also for them to get to assist the community at Doble community.
Building of classrooms.
We made requests to the AMISOM troops who constructed these 5 classrooms that really helped us. The students are now motivated knowing that they learn under these complete structures. This has uplifted the status of the school and as well boosted the morale of the students.
Female engagements where they would empower the women of Somalia.
We've also seen women being in the forefront of reducing school dropouts, as girls are able to go to school, they are able to take up leadership positions, and for us it's a plus, and we can truly say that we did our best in empowering the local women.
Doble Women Association, Doble Women Youth and KDF ATMIS troops work closely together to improve, empower, and raise the skill level of young girls in Doble. The ATMIS female engagement team promotes and transfer the skills and knowledge that they have to the girls in Doble.
provision of water and drilling of boreholes, regular humanitarian aid like provision of foodstuffs, and participating in sporting activities to promote coexistence.
We appreciate the KDF fraternity for the beautiful game that we regularly play. This opportunity brings together the locals and the KDF troops, raising cooperation that exists between us. We look forward to future engagements like this.
After 11 years of stabilizing the region, there was a need for change of the mandate of the troops in Somalia, as Al-Shabaab activities had been already suppressed in the region, bringing peace in various towns, which led to the formation of the African Union Transition Mission in Somalia, ATMIS. The African Union Transition Mission in Somalia was formed on 1st of April 2022, following the end of the AMISOM mandate on the 31st of March 2022. The mission focused on both military and institutional autonomy of the Somali government. The KDF troops were to carry out the ATMIS mandate effectively by conducting jointly planned and targeted operations with the friendly forces and the Somali security forces. This they did effectively through fortification of defense positions, joint patrols, mentoring the Somali security forces, and training them on tactical combat casualty care.
We performed joint day and night patrols with the KDF troops. They provided ammunition needed and other logistics. And in case of casualties, they provided evacuation of personnel for emergency treatment.
Meanwhile, the ATMIS troops continue conducting a phased handover of security responsibilities to the Somali security forces and empowerment of the Somali people.
The town has developed so much. The settlements near have also developed. The town also made significant progress in the areas of health. Previously, we have had patients who were taken to neighboring countries for treatment and surgical procedures, but now we are able to perform and get these services from the ATMIS Level 2 hospital here in Doble. Businesses and other services are also booming, and the progress is visible, and things are on the right trajectory.
The mission's mandate is set to end on the 31st of December 2024, with the transition to the AU Support and Stabilization Mission in Somalia, ALSOM, which will prioritize ongoing peace-building measures such as providing security to Somali citizens and degrading Al-Shabaab, while leaving international partners and the Somali federal government Somalia much better and brought back hope to the residents, made it possible for
will not have achieved the success it has were it not for the active participation of the Kenya Defence Forces and the roles they played in the liberation of Jubaland. This place was empty, deserted, and was controlled by the Al-Shabaab as the population fled to safer grounds in search of food. Today, this town is completely changed with a system of administration in place. It has made progress in business, health, and other services, and this is the positive contribution of the Kenya Defence Forces.
marka hore waxaan rabaa inaan halkan mahadcelin balaaran uga celiyo ciidamada Kenya ka howlgala garoonka iyo si guudba Jubaland.
Not forgetting that back home, they have made their country peaceful and ended worries of terrorism, enabling Kenyans conduct their businesses and errands with no worries. This is a story of dedication, sacrifice, war, humanity, professionalism, and success. This is the legacy of the Kenya Defence Forces presence in Somalia. In the heart of our nation, a force stands united. One force forging ahead for mission success. The Kenya Defence Forces, a mission-capable force deeply rooted in professionalism.
And that marks the end of this documentary. Can we have a round of applause for the producers and the message that has just been delivered by this wonderful documentary? Thank you very much. CS ma'am, ladies and gentlemen, before we proceed, I wish to recognize the presence of our strategic partners, Safaricom, Postbank, Cooperative Bank, and other strategic partners who have sent us a message of goodwill on this commemorative day. CS ma'am, ladies and gentlemen, we now move into the next item of our program today, and that is the launching of the book Defenders of the Nation. Defenders of the Nation tells a story of the KDF from the roots to the modern force that it is. This book brings to fore the paradigm shift that is increasingly becoming necessary to steer national thinking on critical aspects of our national security in a broad sense. And without much ado, it is my pleasure now to invite Brigadier Stephen Huria, who is also the chairperson of the book writing committee, to lead us through this session. Commander Omsa.
Madam Cabinet Secretary, Ministry of Defense, the Attorney General of the Republic of Kenya, Chief of Defense Forces, Principal Secretary, Ministry of Defense, Vice Chief of Defense Forces, Service Commanders, Inspector General, National Police Service, General Officers, both serving and retired, Senior Officers, Officers, Service Members, our families, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is my honor to stand before you today for the excerpts reading from our newly completed work, Defenders of the Nation. On behalf of the entire KDF book writing team, I extend our heartfelt gratitude to everyone who played along in bringing this book to fruition. This remarkable project is the culmination of countless hours of dedication, and it would not have been possible without the steadfast support of our Cabinet Secretary, our Chief of Defense Forces, and all those who contributed tirelessly to this endeavor. In this era, where narratives shape perceptions, and the stories of bravery and sacrifice can easily be overshadowed by the noise of a fast-paced world, it became necessary for the KDF to tell its story, our story, in our own words. The need for this book arises from the essence of who we are as a defense force. We have a legacy worth sharing for those serving today and future generations who will one day don this uniform and continue to uphold the shield of the nation. Defenders of the Nation was an idea to document the extraordinary journey of the Kenya Defense Forces, a journey that began long before independence and continues today, rooted in courage, resilience, and a sense of duty to our beloved country. From our origins in the traditional military systems, the King's African Rifles, to the modern, agile, and professional force we are today, this book encapsulates the very spirit of KDF, our evolution, our challenges, and our triumphs. It is a celebration of the men and women who, through the decades, have stood guard to our borders, flown above our lands, and patrolled our waters, embodying the highest ideals of service. It tells the stories of our sacrifices in defending Kenya, our contribution to regional and global peacekeeping, and the essential role we play in building the nation's socio-economic fabric. In these pages, you will find stories of heroism during the Shifter campaign, unwavering commitment in the face of asymmetric threats, and the silent contributions made through humanitarian efforts that have touched countless lives. This book recounts battles and victories, and it is a testament to the values that make KDF an indomitable force: patriotism, professionalism, integrity, and reliability. It is also a reminder that our strength lies in our military might, as well as our humanity in our ability to assist communities, to build after destruction, and to give hope where hope has been lost. Today, as we gather here for KDF Day, it is only fitting that we launch Defenders of the Nation, for it is on days like this that we reflect the sacrifices made by our soldiers, the paths we have forged, and the secure future we are building together. It is our collective story, one written with pride and purpose, and we are excited to share it with the people of Kenya. This book will serve as a bridge connecting our legacy to the future, ensuring that the sacrifice of our soldiers, the victories we have celebrated, and the challenges we have overcome remain etched in the hearts of our nation's history. And now, it is my great honor and privilege to invite Madam Cabinet Secretary to officially launch this significant book, The Defenders of the Nation. Welcome, ma'am.
As our chief guest goes to launch this book, I kindly request that the Chief of Defense Forces, the AG, the PS, the VCDF, the IG, and the service commanders will join our chief guest in launching this book. Our chief guest, ma'am, we are going to have a fanfare and a countdown from 5 coming down. I expect that those who are showing it on the screen to be on standby so that when we reach 0, we shall have the fanfare, and at the same time, our chief guest will be able to press the button on the same studio. We are at 1 now. Let's go. Press up. A round of applause for our chief guest. She has pressed the button. And the mgeni wetu wa heshima amekwisha bonyeza kitufe. Na kwa hivi sasa, kwa wale ambao tuko mbali kidogo, tutaweza kuona kwenye video, tunaweza kuona kwamba kitabu hicho kimefunguliwa rasmi katika hali hiyo, na bendi yetu ya majeshi ya ulinzi wamekwisha kupiga tarumbeta za fanfare. Kwa hivi sasa, mgeni wetu wa heshima anaendelea kukitia sahihi kitabu na nakala zilizotengewa kwa minajili ya zawadi ya watu mbalimbali ambao wataweza kupewa zawadi hizo. Our chief guest is now signing copies of the Defenders of the Nation book that has just been launched. Remember that this book is giving a story of a force that has come from its roots to where it is today, bringing and showing to the fore the increasingly necessary story, steering thinking of putting aspects to a critical level, to a national level, and in the broad sense, being able to think through matters security. As for now, our chief guest is now pending her signature on the copies of the book that has just been launched. And as soon as that is done, I will ask the band to be on standby to have a small interlude of music so that as our chief guest goes to settle down, we'll be able to transit smoothly into honors and awards. Kwa hivi sasa, mabibi na mabwana, kinachoendelea ni kwamba mgeni wetu wa heshima, mgeni wetu rasmi amekwisha tia sahihi nakala ya kitabu na nakala ya vitabu hivi vya Defenders of the Nation, na kwa hivi sasa anapigwa picha ya kumbukumbu na wakuu mbalimbali waliomsindikiza kwenye shughuli nzima hii. Kwa hivyo punde tu atakapomaliza atakwenda kuchukua nafasi yake, atulie. Atakapokuwa ametulia, bendi watatupa kibao, bendi ya wanahewa watatupa kibao ili tuweze kujipanga vizuri, na wale ambao mnahusika na honors and awards muwe tayari ili tukaweze kuingia kwenye kipindi hicho. Basi makofi wakati wageni waalikwa wamekwisha pewa zawadi na nakala ya kitabu hicho. Wapiga picha wanaendelea kuchukua picha za kumbukumbu ili kuweza kukumbuka jambo hili la kihistoria. This is a historical event where the Defenders of the Nation have just been launched, but Defenders of the Nation book has just been launched by our chief guest. Basi shughuli nzima hiyo imekwisha kwisha. Tumpe makofi mazuri mgeni wetu rasmi anapokwenda kuchukua nafasi yake ili tuweze kuendelea. Asante sana mgeni wetu heshima, mgeni wetu rasmi, asante sana kwa kupata nafasi ya kujiunga nasi na pia kuweza kutuzindulia kitabu hiki kinachoitwa Defenders of Nation. Na ningeuliza sasa bendi yetu ya wanahewa mtupe kibao tunapotulia na kujipanga kuweza kuingia kwenye kipindi kinachofuata. Thank you very much.
What shall we do? What shall we do?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, our beautiful band. Good. Asante sana. CS Ma'am, ladies and gentlemen, we are now transiting into yet another item on our program today. This program will be the Honors and Awards session, and we shall be calling out the officers and men selected for this session, and will also read out their citations so that we are able to know what it is that they are being awarded for. Thank you. CS Ma'am, ladies and gentlemen, honors and awards. And even as we proceed into this session, I will kindly invite our chief guest to come and give these honors and awards. Our chief guest, ma'am. Major Marvin Cheriot Kiprono and Captain Wycliffe Omondi Aguka, Kenya Army. Major Marvin Kiprono Cheriot was enlisted in the Kenya Defence Forces on the 19th of September 2010 as a General Service Officer, while Captain Wycliffe Omondi Aguka was enlisted in the Kenya Defence Forces on the 6th of October as a General Service Officer. So on the 8th of July 2023, Major Marvin Kiprono Cheriot and Captain Wycliffe Omondi Aguka were the flight commander and co-pilot, respectively, on a close air support mission to Somali Special Forces. The pilot's skillful maneuvering of the helicopter and decisive engagement of the adversary enabled the friendly forces to gain ground during the maneuver and gain initiative against adversary, thus shifting the tide of war in favor. They managed to land and pick up wounded soldiers amidst intensive fire. Was successful and the adversary was repulsed. Major Marvin Kiprono Cheriot and Captain Wycliffe Omondi Aguka, because of their valor and gallantry, which involved the imminent danger of death, are hereby recognized. Makofi kwa wanapokuja mbele. Makofi kwa Major Cheriot. Thank you very much. A round of applause for him. A senior private Amon Mwamburi, Kenya Army. A senior private Amon Mwamburi Mwanzi was enlisted in the Kenya Defence Forces on the 2nd of September 2012. So on the 29th of September 2023, while deployed for the African Transition Mission in Somalia, he played a crucial role that led to the successful repulsion of a surprise attack on the forward operating base by crawling from his trench into the armored fighting vehicle, steering it towards the designated firing position under fire. His heroic act is credited with stopping the attack and inflicting casualties on the enemy and forcing them to retreat. The attack ended with no casualties on troops. For his bravery and devotion to duty, Senior Private Amon Mwanzi is hereby recognized. Makofi kwake. Thank you. Another round of applause for Mwamburi. Warrant Officer Class 1 Christopher Kipkoech Kipsoi, Kenya Air Force. Warrant Officer 1 Christopher Kipkoech Kipsoi was enlisted in the Kenya Defence Forces on the 4th of May 1990. In August 2023, Warrant Officer 1 Christopher Kipkoech Kipsoi was then the warrant officer in charge of the Precision Measuring Equipment Laboratory, PMEL, together with a team of personnel from the section. He managed to modify the press calibrator and used to calibrate aircraft weighing kits. The calibrator became cumbersome and hard to use to operate at some point. So the modification was done at a very minimal cost to service and the Kenya Defence Forces. Therefore, Warrant Officer 1 Christopher Kipkoech Kipsoi, for his ingenuity and initiative, is hereby recognized. A round of applause for him. Makofi tafadhali. Asante sana. Senior Sergeant Patterson Kamau, Kenya Air Force. Senior Sergeant Patterson Kamau was enlisted in the Kenya Defence Forces on the 26th of February 2007. During the course of his duties, he collaboratively worked with a team of technical personnel to install the liquid oxygen nitrogen plant, which had encountered compatibility issues with the existing facilities. The liquid oxygen could not be transferred to the old tanks for storage due to different couplings, and it was not possible to charge one cylinder at a time, since the plant had a multiple station manifold. So the modifications were a breakthrough in that it involved rigorous research, selflessness, meticulous work, and a lot of involvement. This initiative saved the country and the service a lot of money and ensured that the plant was serviceable. For his innovativeness and diligence, Senior Sergeant Patterson Kamau is hereby recognized. Makofi anapokuja kuchukua zawadi yake. Asante sana. Makofi kwake. Senior Sergeant Evans Maroko, Kenya Navy. Senior Sergeant Evans Maroko was enlisted in the Kenya Defence Forces on the 1st of September 2008. Senior Sergeant Evans Maroko, through his ingenuity, collected waste materials from the Kenya Shipyard Limited and used them to mold international navigation marks and buoys used to aid in safe navigation at sea that now constitute the navigation square for the KNTC. The square is now an invaluable training aid to all officers and sailor students in the Kenya Navy, and they can now learn practically what the navigation marks and buoys look like, which enforces the theory learned in class. For his exceptional service and outstanding devotion, Senior Sergeant Evans Maroko is hereby recognized. Makofi anapokuja kuchukua zawadi yake. Asante sana. Thank you very much. Makofi kwake anapoondoka. Senior Sergeant James Maina Kimani, Kenya Navy. Senior Sergeant Maina Kimani was enlisted in the Kenya Defence Forces in 2007. Senior Sergeant James Kimani was part of the team tasked to revive the Kenya Navy Jasiri 57mm Bofors and AK 630mm guns between October to December 2022. Through resilience and adaptability, Senior Sergeant James Maina Kimani and his teammates managed to operationalize the guns at a very minimal cost to the service and the Kenya Defence Forces. For his dedication to duty, Senior Sergeant James Maina Kimani is hereby recognized. And that marks the end of the honors and awards. A round of applause to all those who have been awarded. To all those who have been awarded. Our chief guest, thank you very much for that session. Asante sana. Kitakachofuata kipindi cha hotuba. Kwa hivi sasa nitawauliza bendi mtupe burudani fupi tu tunapoendelea kujipanga kuingia ndani mwa kipindi hicho. Bendi Asante sana bendi yetu ya wanahewa kwa burudani safi kabisa. Mgeni wetu rasmi, mabibi na mabwana, tunaingia ndani mwa sehemu nyingine ya ratiba yetu rasmi, na wakati huu tunaingia kwenye kipindi cha hotuba. Kwa hivyo ningewauliza wale ambao labda kule nyuma baada ya mihemko ya documentary na entertainment, kwa hivi sasa ningeliomba tuweze kutulia ili tuweze kukipea kipindi hiki heshima zote zinazostahili. Atakaye tuongoza na kutuelekeza katika kipindi hiki si mwingine bali ni mkuu wa majeshi ya ulinzi ya Kenya, Generali Charles Kahariri, na ni heshima yangu sasa kuweza kumwalika akaweze kuendelea na kipindi hicho. CDF sir.
Our guests of honor, the Cabinet Secretary, Ministry of Defense, Honorable Soipan Tuya, the among us, our guests, the Attorney General, the Honorable Attorney General Dorcas Oduor. I also have a guest in the form of the IG, National Police Service. Thank you very much for joining us. Vice Chief of Defense Forces, Principal Secretary, Ministry of Defense, Service Commanders, General Officers, both serving and retired. At this point, Madam Chief Guest, allow me to recognize some of the General Officers who have joined us today. We have among our midst our former Chief of General Staff, General Retired Jeremiah Kianga. Asante sana. Thank you for your service. We have former Army Commander, Lieutenant General Retired Njoroge. Asante sana for your service. Also among us, another former Army Commander, Lieutenant General Retired Walter Araria Koipaton. Asante sana for your service. Then we have also former Deputy Army Commander, Major General Retired Oyugi. Asante sana. We also have among our midst Major General Retired Ambassador Tumbo. We also have Major General Retired Biwot. Asante sana. Also Mzee wa kazi, Major General Retired Murunga. Asante sana. I think I saw Major General Retired Kivunzi. Kwa watu walitaka kutukosanisha au kuandika jina yako hapa. I not also, my former commandant, Lieutenant General Retired Kanchoro Mulata. Asante sana, and apologies. Have I left anybody out? Honor Brigadier Mushendo, retired. Also, Brigadier Retired Kimanzi, on watu wa artillery. Thank you for standing with the engineers. And all others, maybe I would ask all retired senior officers, general officers who are here to stand. Maybe we recognize you, if there are others. Asanteni sana. So, senior officers, I also noted presence of former Defense Forces and Service Sergeant Majors. Kama muko popote mlipo, naomba msimame. Asanteni sana. Thank you very much for your service. Fellow, also let me recognize the presence of defense attaches and defense advisors representing various countries, friendly countries. Thank you very much for joining us today. Fellow soldiers, airmen and sailors, our families, represented here also by the leadership of the Military Wives Association of Kenya. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Madam CS, it is my pleasure and to thank you for gracing this occasion as the guest of honor, being your very first KDF day since you are appointed as a CS. We thank you very much. Today, as we gather to commemorate this day, a day that holds deep meaning for all of us in uniform and the citizens of this great nation, we reflect on our journey, our sacrifices, and most importantly, our continued commitment to safeguard Kenya's sovereignty, territorial integrity, and prosperity of this nation. The theme of this year's celebration, One Force, Mission Ready, Unity in Action for National Security and Development. It aptly captures the essence of our work, the unity that defines us, and the mission readiness that we strive for every day. It is a reminder that as a united force, we stand strong, ready to defend our country, protect the people, and contribute to national development. So we will remain mission ready and taking cognizance and thankful of the support from the Commander-in-Chief and the government to provide resources for us to be mission ready. In a rapidly changing world with evolving security challenges, we have continued to adapt, modernize our forces, and we are better off today, better equipped and better prepared. Today, as we went round, we saw the kind of capabilities that are there. But I think the most important takeaway for me is not the capabilities that we can acquire through purchasing. It is what we can develop ourselves through the ingenuity that you have seen being recognized here by those that were being awarded. The Attorney General called me aside and told me our award ceremony was unconstitutional because there was no lady being recognized. So the organizers, please take note. Security and development go hand in hand. Without peace, there can be no development, and without development, peace is fragile. Our involvement, especially in civil-military cooperation projects, is testament to this philosophy. Whether it is infrastructure we are building or providing medical services, and I want to thank the organizers of this event again for the good work that they did for the community in enhancing civil-military cooperation, including the medical outreach and repairing of roads and the playing field for the Thika School for the Blind, among others. Let's appreciate them, please. Fellow officers and service members, you are the embodiment of the values we cherish loyalty, respect, duty, selfless service, honor, integrity, and personal courage. Some of these virtues were well articulated by, I think, is an inspiration to all of us. And please, let's recognize him for another round of applause. As he says, if Brayo can do it, why can't a soldier do it? Kwa hivyo, tuache sana kufikiria kwamba ukijikuta kwa tabu, unafikiria hiyo shida peke yake. We have been told there's an opportunity in every challenge, and you could see it clearly. So asante sana Brayo, na asante sana pia kwa Hamo kwa kutuongezea miaka kidogo, kwa vile tumecheka. But most importantly, the kids that also that our school children that came and presented here, we really value and value you and encourage you that you spend your time wisely, especially during school holidays, on issues that will develop your character. KDF Day is a solemn occasion, and we have seen in the video there, it's a solemn occasion which we celebrate the Kenyan soldier and is intended to ensure that the efforts and sacrifices, the ultimate sacrifice in service of this country, our great nation, shall never be forgotten. The acts of valor by our gallant soldiers may be viewed as a duty by some. Others may consider them as acts of patriotism, but we perceive them as a higher calling to defend and protect our motherland. This calling is our sacred duty, and we must remain seized at all times. Let me now take this opportunity to invite our chief guest to come and share with us a message on this very important day, a message that is being relayed in our various camps across the country by those commanders that are not here with us today. Asante sana, Madam CS, karibu uongeleshe jeshi. Thank you.
Thank you very much, CDF. Chief of the Defense Forces, Riri, the Attorney General of the Republic of Kenya, Honorable Dorcas Oduor, the Inspector General of Police, Honorable Douglas Kanja, and we are really glad to have you join us today. It is of great significance for KDF. The Vice Chief of the Defense Forces, Principal Secretary, Ministry of Defense, service commanders, and I also take a great honor and pride to recognize our former generals and former senior and junior officers, or rather retired, led by our former Chief of General Staff, Jeremiah Kianga, distinguished guests, senior officers, our strategic partners who are here, defense attaches from different jurisdictions, service members, our beloved family members and friends, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Hamjambo. It is my profound honor and privilege to join you today as we commemorate the 13th anniversary of Kenya Defence Forces Day. This day holds deep significance as we gather not just to celebrate, but to honor the selfless service of our soldiers, men and women who have chosen to dedicate their lives to the defense and protection of our beloved country. KDF Day is a time to reflect on the extraordinary sacrifices made by our dear soldiers, some of whom have paid the ultimate price to safeguard our peace and security. We extend our deepest gratitude to the families of our soldiers. Your sacrifices are as immense as those of the soldiers you love, as you bear the weight of their duty every single day. It is your strength that enables them to serve with unwavering commitment. So, ladies and gentlemen, as we honor and celebrate our soldiers, we know that their families are the solid strength behind them, and we honor all of them who are here with us today. We honor the brave fallen heroes and heroines who lay down their lives for our country. Behind each fallen soldier's name is a unique story, a grieving family, and a resilient community that takes great pride in the legacy they left behind. The whole of Kenya shares your pain, and we salute you for your fortitude. And I want to take this opportunity to congratulate the Stratcom team and the committee behind the book that we just launched today, Defenders of the Nation, where KDF is telling their own heroic story. Congratulations, the Stratcom team, and all that put the story together. Ladies and gentlemen, this year's KDF Day celebrations come at a time when the world faces unprecedented challenges. Threats such as terrorism, climate change, and regional instability are putting immense pressure on global security. The KDF stands at the forefront in cohesively responding to these challenges, protecting our borders, and maintaining peace at home, across the region, and globally. On the theme for today, One Force, Mission Ready, Unity in Action for National Security and Development, it does underscore the fact that the strength of our military lies in its unity, not just within the ranks, but within the nation it serves. KDF's work transcends defending our borders. It touches the lives of Kenyans through various humanitarian missions, peace enforcement, and peacekeeping efforts. The KDF role in supporting communities affected by disasters, insecurity, and poverty is as vital as its defense missions. This dedicated relationship between our military and the people of Kenya strengthens the bonds of trust and ensures peace, development for all. And indeed, KDF remains a beacon of hope for our country. From curbing banditry in the North Rift to responding to natural disasters such as the recent floods, KDF has remained steadfast in protecting our nation and enhancing the well-being of our citizens. These efforts would not be possible without the dedicated sacrifices of the soldiers and the unwavering support of our families who are here today. Once again, to the families who have lost loved ones along the way, no words can truly express the depth of our gratitude for your sacrifice. Your loved ones are forever enshrined in our hearts as heroes and heroines who gave everything for the freedom and security we enjoy today. Kenyans know very well that you're the reason they can afford to sleep peacefully every night. We honor their memory and pledge never to forget their sacrifices. And the monument we have unveiled today is a symbol to always remember our gallant soldiers lost from these barracks and all the other services, formations, and units across the KDF, lest we forget. And I'm happy that we have this commemoration happening all over the country in our major bases and garrisons across the country. As we celebrate this special day, let us remember and pray for our dear soldiers who are currently serving far from home, risking their lives so that we may continue enjoying freedom and living in peace. Let us also remember the families who wait for their safe return home, carrying the burden of their absence with grace and strength. Today, we are here to renew our commitment to support them in every way possible. As the Ministry of Defense, we are fully committed to ensure that the welfare of both serving KDF personnel and the families of departed servicemen and women remains a core priority. The commitment is demonstrated in a range of support programs, including comprehensive healthcare services, financial empowerment initiatives, and educational benefits. The ministry continues to provide pensions, scholarships for children, and emotional support programs to help navigate their losses for the families. These policies reflect the ministry's dedication to honoring the sacrifices made by our soldiers and the families. As I conclude, I want to state that on behalf of the leadership of KDF, and I can confidently say on behalf of the Chief of the Kenya Defense Forces, that we are committed to ensuring enhanced capacity for our forces to ensure mission readiness, to ensure a strong posturing, and to ensure that we have a solid welfare support system for our veterans and all our forces. I am very committed to support the ingenious demonstration across the forces of the capabilities of our forces to contribute not only to enhanced capabilities within KDF, but also a wider spectrum of defense industry that I know is going to take our country to the next level, even in terms of contributing to our GDP. I want to congratulate the awardees, despite the Attorney General having almost, at least we didn't give her the microphone, because she could have declared our award ceremony unconstitutional. So we have time to salvage CDF, but allow me to say that we congratulate all the awardees of today and the entire KDF fraternity for your zeal and commitment in service to our nation, and as has been demonstrated by our young people here, Kenya and KDF in particular is known for its professionalism, ingenious innovation. Although Professor Hamo alikuwa anatuchongoa hapo kidogo, saying that, you know, tumepaka rangi nusu, but that is the essence of innovation, Professor Hamo. And thank you for the entertainment na kutuchekesha. Tutaonana nyuma ya tent ndio tuweze kuona yale matakwa yako, how to progress them. And for our young people, thank you for the entertainment. Our little brother, Sami Brayo, you are the essence of inspiration. And that's the spirit of Kenya, of resilience, of pressing forward. And as I said, despite the difficult and tumultuous moment that we find ourselves in globally, not just Kenya, particularly economically, I can categorically state that as the KDF family, we are going to commit and strengthen our resolve even more. And I can commit as a CS that we will leave no opportunity unturned to make sure full support for KDF in all the needs that there are. Asanteni sana. Mungu awabariki. And I can say that on behalf of the Kenyan government and the great people of Kenya, we salute you, KDF, for all your unwavering service. Tunawaenzi sana, and I can say that as your cabinet secretary. I wish you all a happy KDF Day. God bless you all, and God bless Kenya. Asanteni.
Tumpongeze waziri wetu kwa makofi mazuri. Asante sana waziri wetu wa ulinzi. Tumefika kipindi cha sherehe za machweo ya jua, beating of the retreat by the KDF band. Na niombe kwa heshima Senior Drum Major, iwapo mko tayari, upande wa pili afisa mteule daraja la kwanza Mary Renu, beating of the retreat by the KDF band. Nizamu ya mkurugenzi wa muziki, yani kutekeleza wajibu wake alasiri ya leo. Kwa heshima naomba wimbo wa Injili, wimbo wa kushusha bendera na wimbo wetu wa taifa. hivi sasa mwelekezi mkuu wa bendi za majeshi ya ulinzi akija kumwomba mgeni wetu rasmi idhini ya kuondoa bendi hizi uwanjani. Asanteni, kwa heshima tunaweza kuketi tafadhali. Anaondoka hivi sasa uwanjani mkurugenzi wa muziki jeshi la nchi kavu baada ya kutekeleza majukumu yake alasiri ya leo. Asante sana mgeni wetu rasmi kwa kuweza kupokea saluti hiyo ya heshima kutoka kwa bendi za majeshi ya ulinzi chini yake mwelekezi mkuu afisa mteule daraja la kwanza Mary Ekiru, wakiondoka hivi sasa uwanjani baada ya kutekeleza majukumu yao siku ya leo. Mgeni wetu rasmi, tunaingia katika kipindi cha picha na nitaomba sote tuweze kutulia hadi kipindi hicho kitakapokamilika, kisha nitaweza kuwajuza wakati wa kufumukana mahali hapa tukielekea kwa mankuli. Nitamweza kumpisha mwenzangu Meja Justin Pamba aendeshe kipindi hicho cha picha. Welcome sir.
Basi asante sana. Bendi yetu inapoondoka sasa, tunaingia kwenye kipindi cha picha za kumbukumbu, na ningeliuliza kwa heshima kwamba niseme itakavyokuwa. Picha ya kwanza itakuwa ni ya mgeni wetu rasmi, the CDF, the AG, the PS, the VCDF, the IG and the service commanders. Watakapopigwa picha ya kwanza, wafuatao picha ya exposure ya pili itakuwa ni ya retired general officers ambao watakuja kuwa flank kwa picha ya tatu, na ya mwisho FSMs both serving and retired. Kwa hivyo ndivyo mambo. Tafadhali, najua DFSMs especially wale retired naona mko mbali kidogo, mwanze kujongea ili tunapoanza kipindi hicho tuweze kwenda kwa haraka kidogo. Basi wapiga picha na wanahabari tuwe tayari kabisa ili tuchukue muda mfupi kabisa kwa wageni wetu, mgeni wetu rasmi na wakuu wengine wa kijeshi walio katika picha hiyo kuweza kwenda kwa haraka. Kumbuka kwamba nitamwomba mgeni rasmi baada ya picha hiyo ya kwanza akaweze kubaki mahali pale, alafu akuwe flanked na retired general officers katika picha ya pili. Basi afisa anayehusika na upigaji picha huo anaomba ruhusa ya kuweza kuendelea. Basi exposure ya kwanza ndo hiyo, na naomba ya kwamba DFSMs both serving and retired ndo hao wanakuja. Wazee wa kazi wale wamekwisha staafu, lakini wangali wako sawa kabisa. Basi wanapojongea karibu, picha ya pili itakuwa ni ya retired generals, retired general officers ambao ndio hao sasa mulikwisha julishwa ni akina nani wanakuja kujiunga kwa hiyo picha, wanakuja kuflank mgeni wetu rasmi na wakuu wengine mbalimbali ambao wako kwenye picha hiyo. Exposure ya pili inaendelea sasa, ni ya general officers, retired general officers. Retired general officers ndio hao wamekwisha jiunga na mgeni wetu rasmi katika exposure ya pili. Punde tu watakapomaliza exposure ya tatu itakuwa ni ya both serving and retired DFSMs. Both serving and retired DFSM. Punde tu watakapomaliza mgeni wetu rasmi ataweza kuondoka kwa wakati wake mwenyewe, na atakapokuwa anaondoka nitauliza kwa heshima tukaweze kusimama muda huo utakapofika. Na ndio hiyo picha exposure ya pili ya retired general officers. Wanapiga picha na mgeni wetu rasmi. Afande, asanteni sana. Thank you very much. Kwa hivi sasa picha ya tatu na ya mwisho ni ya retired and serving DFSMs ambao wanapigwa picha kwa hivi sasa, na ndio itakuwa picha ya mwisho ya kumbukumbu katika hafla hii ya siku ya leo.
Asante sana.
Basi exposure inayoendelea sasa ni ya serving generals.
All right, and without photo session, ladies and gentlemen, that marks the end of our live coverage of the 13th Kenya Defence Forces Day, which today has been marked here at the Thika Barracks in Kiambu County. But before we take it back to normal programming, just to note that today, men and women have been recognized for their gallant service, and
the independent, credible pollsters shows, number one there, that only 2,236, 7% voted in favor of impeachment of the petitioner applicant. Sorry, my lord. the opinion polls.
What late drama? No one marking Palmer again.
Stream all Premier League games wherever you are on Showmax Premier League. Available now on Showmax.
The impeachment of the Deputy President.